You can hear his purring in the mic.
Hello, 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 everybody. I don't know if you can hear Figgy the Archive Cat's purring, but he's purring at you all to say hello. So I'm going to say hello to all of our wonderful guests today. Hello, Al. Hello, Dan. Hello, Dan Walker. Hi, Susan. Hello, Carol. Hey, Lisa. It's good to see you. Michelle and Steve. Hello. I see our old friend Joe Hickerson. He's not quite down into the frame yet with his retired head, as we like to say. He's the retired head of our archive. He's showing us his T-shirt. That's why. Hello, Isabel. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Kim. Good to see you again. Hi, Deli. Hi, Terry Shaw. Arlene. It's great to see you. Hello. Figgy's escaping. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Pete and Janet. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Anne Lafferty. I see your room, but not you. But I hope you're in there. Hi, Caroline. Hey, it's good to see you. Hi, Bonnie. Hello, Shari. Hi, Storm. Hello to all of you wonderful people. I have to advance to my second screen to keep saying hi to everyone. Wow. Hi, Doug. Hello, Jamie. Good to see you again. Oop, you're jumping around. Hi, Barb. Hi, Trish. Hello, Tom, all the way from Victoria. Hi, Gladys. Scott Miller. Oh my gosh, good to see you. Hi, Scott. Hi, Bob Lee. Hi, Hoda. Hey, Annette. And Thomas, good to see you. Now there's people who are not on screen, but we're going to assume that they're there in their rooms. Barbara. Hello, Cindy. Hi, Tom and Jane. Hello, Nancy and Gwyn. I think that's everyone, but just in case I missed someone, I want to say hi to the people that we missed because, as you know, people keep getting added to the screens and they sometimes pop in after the place where where we've already gotten to. So hello to everyone. We're really glad to see you, and we're here today with the wonderful Windborne. So this is our archive challenge week, and we're going to let Jennifer Cutting, my partner in crime, take over for a second.
I am Jennifer, the partner in crime of Figgy the Archive Cat and Steve Winnick. Steve and I, not Figgy yet, he hasn't been promoted yet.
That's right.
We are both folklife specialists at the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. And we are now in the home stretch of our fourth archive challenge partnership week on the Daily Antidote of Song. There's just today and tomorrow left. So I hope we see all of you back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Over to you, Steve.
Well, Jennifer and I, as we've said all week, we really love working at the Library of Congress, the largest library in the world, the nation's oldest federal cultural institution. And we, of course, work in the American Folklife Center, which is just a small division of the library where we take care of some of the great field recordings of traditional music and song, among many other materials.
That's right. And we're going to tell you a little more about the American Folklife Center and the history of the Archive Challenge and the field recording that Windborne will be singing from soon. So we hope you can stick around for a few minutes after we sing. But for those of you who need to sing and run off because your lunch break is over, we want to get to our great guests and their song as soon as possible. So let's bring on the sensational New England vocal quartet Windborne, who have truly, truly put their own stamp on the song Hard Times from Alan Lomax's field recording of Lily Steele that he made in Hamilton, Ohio in 1938.
All right, welcome everyone. We are Windborne. This is Will, Lauren, Lynn, and I'm Jeremy. And yes, we'll be singing a piece called The Song of Hard Times. We're just going to jump right into teaching it. We're going to sing through it once, just the chorus with the four of us, and then we'll break down those parts so we can have you all sing along.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
So it's this funky chorus, and we're gonna break that down, starting with the melody.
Well, first of all, has someone put the words into the chat?
They're on it.
Great. So the chorus, the lyrics are: since cheating has Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. And the melody, which is the part that Lily Steele was singing, is the part that I'm singing, so I'll teach that first. Usually we say feel free to sing along with any and all of the parts, but obviously you're at home. You can sing with anything you want or not, and we won't know. Advantage, we won't know. So anyway, I'll sing so you can, the whole thing, just the melody, so you can hear that line by itself, because it can be hard to pick that out from the group. And then I'll break it down bit by bit. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. So that starts out by going, since cheating has got so much into fashion. Try that.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion.
Yeah. I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. Yeah, it jumps all around. Let's put those two parts together.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation.
And it's hard times.
And it's hard times.
And you'll hear when I sing it, I tend to do a little, and it's hard time, ba-da-dum, but don't worry about that, just, and it's hard times is fine. But yeah, feel free to ornament as much as you want. So the whole thing, a little bit under tempo, sounds like this. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. Nation and it's comes really kind of quick together, all in the same note there. Nation and it's hard times. So let's try the whole thing.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
One more time, just to make sure it really got it.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Over the nation. Yeah, big jumps there. Nice job. What do you think? Mostly got it? Got that part?
Give a thumbs up.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice. Let's do the bass part next, because there's a lot of it's sort of in octaves for much of that melody, so it'll be familiar. But for now, anyone sing along. This will be the bass part. Since cheating has got so much into fashion. Try that.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion.
Pretty much the same. I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation.
I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation.
And it's hard times.
And it's hard times.
Am I teaching it wrong?
You're teaching the
That's
melody. Can we sing it together one time?
Yeah, sorry.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Yeah.
Different on spread.
Yeah, so I got sucked right in there from singing it. So I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. Afraid it'll spread all over the nation. Just try that bit with me, because that's where we break off. I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. And it's hard times. Spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. That's just where we're going to end. So let's try that from Since Cheating Has Got with the melody, and then breaking off on spread.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Nice.
The bassy bass part.
We're going to try those two parts together, so you can follow my hand and voice for the bass part, and you can follow Lynn for the melody. Since cheating...
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Nice. That's great. We're going to
Do the tenor part.
Great.
So the tenor part is following that sort of in parallel into the until the end, kind of like the bass part, but it goes. Since cheating has got so much into fashion. Just try that. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. And it's hard times. And it's hard times. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. And it's hard times. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. And it's hard times. So you'll notice it sort of does a parallel thing until over the nation. It sort of then switches to doing sort of the opposite movement as the melody. You want to put that with
Those three parts.
Those three parts?
Those three parts together.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Those chords are so fun. It's I hope that it's nice. You get the four of us singing here, so you're blending in with that no matter what.
Yeah.
And then the soprano part, I think it was just putting like caps on all of the chords. It sounds like this. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Yeah.
So I'll break that down. Since cheating has got so much into fashion. Try that.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion,
I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation.
I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation.
And it's hard times.
And it's hard times.
So just me the whole time through, and then we'll all do it together. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. Everyone now.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Nice.
It's a nice part.
Try putting...
You all have the honor, by the way, of being the first group we've ever tried teaching this song to. So if we're a little rusty, that's why. We've never actually taught this before. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a brand... we'll probably get into the story a little bit later, but it was a brand new arrangement that we'd made in January 2020 for an event with the Library of Congress. And then we all know what happened right after January 2020. So we haven't been doing workshops throughout the year in the same way that we normally would.
We'll stick those all together. So. For bass and melody.
Since soprano.
And also for tenor,
Let's try it.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
One more time all together.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Now, why don't we actually, now that you've had a chance to listen and then try to put it all together, let's hear each part by itself one more time and then sing it all together again.
Yeah.
So let's actually this time go in opposite order. So the soprano part again.
Soprano is... Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Tenor.
since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Hey.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
And the melody. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Awesome.
Let's
Do it all together one more time?
Sure.
Or-
soprano and tenor.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Last time.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Great. So if we can get the words to the whole song put in there, we're going to sing through. We're actually going to play some jaw harps as well for some of these verses. The one thing that I want to draw your attention to is that there's a chorus that has a different set of lyrics. And those lyrics are, since cheating's the way of the big corporation, by now it's spread all over the nation. And we'll talk about this a little bit after we sing it through all together, but some of these lyrics are original to Lily Steele in 1938, and some of them are Windborne's adaptation of the song, and that's you can guess which one that is. But we're gonna start it. We're gonna start with a verse, and then we'll cue you to come in for these choruses.
Come all you good people, I'll sing you a song. I'll tell you the truth, I know I ain't wrong. It's from father to mother, from sister to brother. They've gotten the fashion of cheating each other, and it's hard times.
Ready?
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Here's the old baker bakes all the bread we eat. Likewise the old butcher by selling his meat.
They'll tip off the still yards
And make 'em weigh down and swear it's good weight if it lacks 10 pound, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Here's the old banker with keys to his vault.
I swear to you all, he's worse by tenfold. He'll hand you 1,000 and call it a loan.
But then soon enough he'll take all that you own, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Here comes the senator with a tie and a smile. He'll pledge and he'll promise and swear it's no guile. He'll go to the Capitol and say he's your friend.
Then he'll line his silk pockets and leave you again, and it's hard time.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. But the Lord of Industry owns the whole lot. He's got nothing to fear, 'cause the senator he's bought. He's fixing the vote and he's rigging the game, but he points to your neighbor when you ask who's to blame. Since cheating's the way of the big corporation, by now it's spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Now I've concluded, I've finished my song. I've told you the truth, and I know I ain't wrong.
The butcher may cheat you, the banker ain't fair.
But the problem is really the billionaire,
And it's hard times.
Nice.
I love seeing some people percuss along with that. I'm glad that y'all are putting your own take on this as well.
And singing, man, I could see everybody singing their hearts out. And your arrangement is mind blowing because it's got everything going for it. It's got those jaw harps, it's got the additive thing where you have one voice singing and then you add a second and then you add a third, and everybody comes in rich 4-part harmony on those verses. And it's such a cool modal thing, that flatted Mixolydian flatted seventh, which makes this old song sound so cool and so weird. And you do so much with that. You kind of bring out the cool weirdness of it. Love your arrangement.
Can that be our tagline? Windborne brings out the cool weirdness?
Yeah. Great.
And on the subject of modalness, like we actually had to decide it was in Mixolydian mode as opposed to like minor or like Dorian mode, because the melody actually doesn't use the third scale degree of the scale at all, which is kind of crazy. It's like a hexatonic melody, but
Schrodinger's mode.
Yeah, Schrodinger's mode.
Schrodinger's mode.
We
might be there.
We went with the Mixolydian because it worked with the jaw harps.
Right. So yeah, you brought out the cool kinky weirdness of that modal tune, and I just we're not worthy. Your arranging skills are awesome. So
Thank you.
Now let me crow about you a little bit. Now that everybody has heard Windborne, I'm going to tell you a little more about them. They are made up of, they introduce themselves, but I'll say their names again. Lynn Mahoney Rowan, Will Thomas Rowan, Lauren Broinig, and Jeremy Carter Gordon. And as you just heard so stunningly, they specialize in vocal harmony. And they've collected and studied polyphonic vocal music for over 15 years from traditional singing masters from cultures all over the world. And they're so versatile that without batting an eye, they're able to shift from an improvised couplet song from the island of Corsica to an English ballad. And harmony singing requires such a close connection to each other, a kind of interdependence. And their attunement to each other is very evident. There is very much an educational component to their performances, but they also are able to entertain at the same time as they educate. They tell stories about the music and talk about the characteristics of the traditions they're singing. And they sing a lot, as you might have noticed in this song, about social justice, especially working class movements for people's rights from the past 400 years. And those old songs are eerily appropriate for today's struggles. Now, before we ask Windborne about their reimagining of the song, we did want to introduce the archive that this song came from and the idea of the archive challenge. Our archive dates back to 1928, but has recordings that go back to the very earliest days of recorded sound, wax cylinders, including the first known field recording of any kind, which are wax cylinder recordings of Passamaquoddy Indians from Maine, made in the year 1890. We'd love to hear Windborne take on one of those sometime. We have field recordings of performers that everybody knows about and everybody loves, like Muddy Waters and Pete Seeger and Leadbelly, Woody Guthrie and Aunt Molly Jackson and Gene Ritchie and Lily Steele. But there are thousands more amazing tradition bearers you've never heard of. And maybe Lily Steele maybe is somebody you haven't heard of. But as custodians of all these fabulous recordings, we preserve all their songs and stories and all their voices with the same reverence and care, because we believe, like Alan Lomax did, that cultural diversity is as essential for human survival as biodiversity. And therefore, every culture's music and stories deserve equal airtime. That's Alan Lomax's concept of cultural equity.
And Yeah, one of the interesting things about the archive is that it's always served as an inspiration for new art. This was something that Alan Lomax himself cared about very much, and he was sort of the third head of the archive, if you want to count in that order.
I
So
keep his old job description up at my desk, and it says to interest artists
right,
in
right.
material from the archive.
So he was particularly interested in that, and he worked directly with people like Aaron Copland. So we have accounts in correspondence of Alan going to visit Aaron Copland with versions of John Henry, and Aaron Copland listening to them and nixing them like after 4 notes. He said, "No, that's not the one I want," and they had this discussion. But Copland eventually did use a bunch of material from the archive, including most famously Bonaparte's Retreat, a fiddle tune by Bill Stepp, which became the hoedown section of Rodeo, which is possibly the most famous piece of American classical music, otherwise known as
Beef. It's what's for dinner.
Right. That piece comes straight from the archive. But also things that became kind of culturally iconic, like Tom Dooley, which kind of fired off the folk revival in 1958. Rock Island Line, which did a similar thing in Britain, is another example. So these are kinds of things from the archive that people have always been drawing on to create American and global popular music. So we kind of thought that this was a good idea and that we would spread this idea further.
So in 2015, we had the idea of taking that creative inspiration from the collections that had already been going on since 1928, but giving it a platform and a name and a kind of new intentionality. So we invited all the artists who were attending Folk Alliance International in 2015. We sent out a call, please volunteer to find a song or tune from our archive that really inspires you, and then arrange or interpret that piece in your own way. And we called it the Archive Challenge. Actually, that year we called it the Lomax Challenge because we were celebrating the centennial of Alan Lomax. And that showcase at the 2015 Folk Alliance Conference was so successful. The artists loved doing it and the audience loved hearing it. We've been running archive challenges ever since at that conference, which is where we met Windborne when they participated in our archive challenge showcase at the New Orleans Folk Alliance Conference right before the pandemic struck in January of 2020. They were a big presence at that conference. We've also continued the archive challenge concerts in our Coolidge Auditorium at the Library of Congress, and later during the pandemic and afterward from home. And these archive challenge weeks on the Daily Antidote are just an extension of that idea.
That's right, and we're having Windborne later in the season. So
that's right.
So we're looking forward to that.
As a virtual concert.
As a virtual concert. So what we're doing is we're having the artists record concerts of themselves, and then they submitting them to us, and we play them, we premiere them in the series. So if you go to loc.gov/concerts/folklife, you'll find the full list, including when Windborne's is coming up, and you can watch the concert there, or you can watch it on our Facebook page. So that's another example of the things that we're doing to work with Windborne. So Windborne, we want to ask you about your interface with this song. Like what attracted you specifically to this 1938 field recording of Lily Steele singing Hard Times?
Well, I think that the first thing that we noticed was just the sort of lilting quality of the melody and the sort of strange mode it was in, and sort of like the ambiguity of the music. Yeah. And then as we sort of listened to it a little bit more, we really got into the chorus, that the since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. It sort of felt it was like really speaking to stuff that we were seeing happening around us in the world at the time, which is a lot of what we do is we've done now a couple of projects of looking at old songs that feel like, despite their age, they're really sort of timeless in their content.
Yeah, and I know that we have a bunch of longtime fans here, as well as members of our Patreon community. But this song actually became the title track of our upcoming album, which is called Of Hard Times and Harmony. And we have an Indiegogo page where you can still pre-order that. And the piece, or the organizing thought behind this album is all of these songs, as Will said, that are songs of social struggle. And the original that Lily Steele recorded, it was started by pointing out the wrongs that people were doing to each other. So the baker and the butcher and all of these people. And she went on to list sort of this litany of other folks who were also wronging each other. And what we decided to do is we wanted to change it a little bit, set our sights a little bit higher, and sort of trace these lines of power. Okay, it's the baker is cheating the customer, but it's because, okay, here's the banker who has the lien on his house, and here's the politician who is controlling the baker, and then there's the billionaire up there sort of pulling all of the strings.
Giant puppet master.
Tracing that power back to its real source, and asking, why are people cheating each other?
Yeah, it's a great way to kind of reconceptualize this song, especially for modern times. But of course, to a certain extent, this was already true in 1938 when Lily Steele sang it as well.
And tell us how many verses you actually added to this, and how many you used from Lily Steele.
Yeah, the first two verses are original from Lily Steele's singing, and then the rest of them are ones that we wrote.
Well, I think the banker one is half and half, isn't it? I think there was a line that was.
I don't think so. No.
Was there not a banker?
We'd have to.
There were certain specific lines that we pulled out from sort of pieces that we felt, ooh, that's just a great bit of language. And it's a trick that we often do when we're updating songs, because the reality is that songs that are progressive or that are exciting and new at a certain point in time, fast forward 100 years, what they're saying isn't necessarily progressive in the same way anymore. But we try to, in most cases, preserve the feeling of really being in the world that the songwriter, the original songwriter, was inhabiting. And so by just taking phrases or lines and sticking them in other verses, we certainly added those things in.
I Swear to You All He's Worse by Tenfold. I'm pretty sure that one.
Yeah,
that was an original. That was an original.
Partial original.
Exactly, partially.
And it gives it a ring of the old as well when you include those lines.
Yeah, well done with that as well, because it's challenging to write new verses and have them fit in seamlessly with the old verses. But that's one trick that actually helps a lot, is to pull a line or just a turn of phrase from an original verse and put it into, or from a previous verse, that is to say a traditional verse, and add it to your original verse as well. So that's great.
And it's going to be fun 50 years from now when you hear someone singing your rewrite of this song and saying it's traditional.
Right.
Then you know you've done it. Then you know you've done it right.
That's the folk process right there.
Yep.
We had a couple experiences of that digitally, actually. We've seen some people, we've recently gotten on TikTok and had a lot of success there, but we've now seen people singing versions of traditional songs, but we've added verses to it, and they say, oh, this is this traditional song that is from 1840 or
but then they sing our verse
1930, but they're singing the verses that we wrote. So it's already happening a little bit.
That's very cool.
It's working just as it should.
So just as a treat, we actually brought along the field recording of Lily Steele, so folks can hear that.
So
let's give a listen to that.
Yeah.
I'll sing you a song, I'll tell you the truth, I know I ain't wrong. From father to mother, from sister to brother, they've got in the fashion of cheating each other in its hard times. There's the old baker bakes all the bread we eat, likewise the old butcher by selling his meat. He'll tip up the steel yards and make his way down, and swears could wait if it likes 10 pounds in its hard times. There's the old blacksmith makes his living by the sweat of his brow, likewise the old farmer by following his plow. They think they're right in their own conceit, they'll cheat each other and measure and weight in its hard times. Since cheating has gone so Baptists, the old Methodists, they'll sigh and they'll mourn. They'll hang down their heads, they'll grind and they'll groan. And if there's no money, they'll have to go out. They'll shut up their doors, they'll sing and shout. It's hard times.
That was great.
It's such a funky rhythm. It's such a funky
Yeah.
tune. The words are wild and calling out all of these different denominations of religious people.
Yeah.
It's a really cool song.
It's interesting because there are, you know, versions of this idea and this song that go back a long time, which share verses with the American hard times in Britain, including things like the Rigs of the Time. One of them was called The Chapter of Cheats, which is great because it brings the cheating idea right into the title. But one of the things that's kind of cool is that in the American version, and this is true in sort of really newer versions of this song, like the Dodger, which is very much related to this song, is that it ends up being a lot about religious denominations, as you say. So so it's not only the particular cheating of individual occupations like butchers and bakers and barbers and all that, but then also of religious denominations in America, which all had their own peculiarities and quirks, and they're always made fun of in these songs. So yeah, so there's stuff in the Lily Steele version that, you know, you can't do everything when you're putting your own version together. You have to focus on something, and we think you guys did a great job.
And when you play the field recording of Lily Steele, you realize how remarkably true you guys stayed to the rhythm, the melody. I mean, you really captured the essence while adding something new to it at the same time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
and
really the goal.
And we had to make some compromises on that because there's a certain freedom that she has in the way she sings it, because she doesn't have anyone else to be
Right.
beholden to.
Right.
And we had especially in the rhythm, we had to, we couldn't say, here's the old blacksmith makes a living by the sweat of his brow. We didn't have enough time to fit that
Right.
into a measure
I
of
could
6/8.
have done that if we chose to do it.
You had to make it scan better. Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the face, the being that this voice is coming out of. Let's throw up some pictures on the screen of Lily Steele. Let's look at first at the picture of Lily with her husband, banjo player Pete Steele. There they are. These two are pretty well represented in our collections, and the recording that Pete Steele is best known for is, of course, Cold Creek March on the banjo. That's, iconic among banjo players. These two were married for over 60 years, so I'm thinking that maybe having music making in common was a part of the good glue that held them together.
Yeah, and this is a much later picture of them. This isn't from 1938 when Lomax recorded them. I think it's from the 60s sometime. So if we go and look at our next picture,
that's a little earlier.
That's a little earlier.
When they had a young family.
When they had a young family.
They raised a whole passel of kids.
So Pete and Lily are both there in that photo. Pete's got the banjo, and Lily is the adult woman who doesn't have a banjo in that picture. So this is what they looked like when Alan Lomax visited them in 1938, and they were in Ohio, but it's part of the Lomax Kentucky collection, and this is the reason why Mitch McConnell should support infrastructure, because to get from Kentucky to Ohio where they lived, it's nice to have a bridge. So so this is a picture of them in Hamilton, Ohio, where Alan Lomax encountered them in 1938.
And if you'd like to hear more of the field recordings that this song came from, we'd like to give you the link now. Aaron, if you could put up the link to the Lomax Kentucky site. That's lomaxky.omeka.net in the chat. I'm not looking at the chat, so I can't tell if it's up there yet.
So that's one place where you can find it. And another thing to mention is that these recordings from Kentucky, they are up at that Kentucky website. They've also recently been added to the Alan Lomax Digital Archive at the Association for Cultural Equity. So I'll mention the Lomax Kentucky website makes available to everyone the AFC Archives documentary recordings of rural Kentucky collected between 1933 and 1942. but then there's also the Association for Cultural Equity, which puts a much wider selection of Alan Lomax's recordings up online. And so there's a link there as well for this particular song on the Cultural Equity website, but then you can, expand out from there and look for other materials.
We've had a
from
lot
that
of
archive.
partners helping us get our field recordings online. So the main idea we want you to carry away is that loc.gov/folklife is a source of a lot of our field recordings, but we've worked with a lot of partners as well. And this Lomax Kentucky collection went up as a result of a great collaboration between Berea College, University of Kentucky Libraries, American Folklife Center, us, and the Association for Cultural Equity.
And we've mentioned that name a few times. The Association for Cultural Equity is the foundation that Alan Lomax himself put together while he was alive, and it's now continues his work now that he's gone. And so it has a large digital archive of Lomax materials online. Those materials are part of the American Folklife Center archive, but the Association for Cultural Equity manages the rights and licensing for them, and therefore they're the ones that run that website.
And they've just revamped their website, and it's actually a lot easier to target a search and find things. So
yeah, so we got a question in the chat as to where Lily Steele was from. She was from Kentucky, but living in Ohio at the time that this recording was made. And there's one last thing we wanted to show you, which is that we have a lot of fun versions of Hard Times in the Library of Congress, both as field recordings like the ones that like the one that we just played, but also as manuscripts, essentially broadsides. And this is a version that has 30 different verses. So these are 30 different occupations that cheat you in one way or another. And I love the picture because the picture looks like he's punching the guy in the nose, but if you look really closely, there's actually a caption on it which says, or else a bold knave, he won't let go your nose. And if you look closely at the whole song, you'll find that that's from the barber verse, and the barber will not let go of your nose until you paid him. So it's kind of a weird image for that, because the guy with the nose being held should actually be in the barber chair with the barber grabbing his nose, but they didn't pay that much attention when they when they drew these pictures. But this is the kind of thing that you find in the Library of Congress, just amazing materials, not only field recordings, but also other ways in which these songs were documented and spread, because this song spread very widely on broadsides, both in Britain and America, and we have versions of it printed in both countries.
Right, and you can go down such a deep rabbit hole at the Library of Congress. You can visit the manuscript division and find some broadsides. You can visit Rare Book and find this in Rare Books. You can visit the music division and find it in all kinds of printed music collections. You can visit the Folklife Center and find it in field recordings. But I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole because I want to get back to Windborne.
Yeah, well, one of the things that demonstrates is how much, how much work they did to select the best verses that they wanted to use, right? Yeah. Because there are so many verses. Probably if you aggregate all the broadsides that we have, verses. You'd find like 100 different verses, probably of the song. So
anyway, what I wanted to notice about you guys. Pardon?
In none of those verses do they talk about librarians cheating you.
We're probably one of the professions that are, maybe the most honest. We're very service oriented. It's all about what we can do for you. I mean, not to blow our own horn, but we're in it for the service.
And you can trust her because she's a librarian.
I work at the library. I'm from the government. You can trust me. So
we're here to help.
Anyway, I wanted to say, you guys in Windborne, you really, I was keeping up with you during the pandemic. You guys really excelled at using technology to stay connected to your audience during the pandemic. And you did so many live stream concerts and other really creative things, like the little films that you made. And wow, you really made that lemon into some great lemonade and stayed connected to everybody and expanded your fan base. So now that the world is opening up again, I just wanted to ask you about your plans for reemergence as a live performing band. We were talking earlier before we went live, and you said that you had just done your first post-pandemic live performance. What was that like?
That was fun. It was outside. It was a
Uh-huh.
nice day. We still haven't performed inside yet. That does feel like a big step, but we
Yeah.
will. We're scheduled to perform with a festival, a Celtic festival with Brian O'Donovan at in Rockport, Massachusetts, at the end of August. And there will be a virtual component as well as a live component to that. So we're pretty excited to be doing that. And
But this weekend, we're actually part of the virtual edition of the Old Songs Festival.
Oh,
Old Songs
great.
2021 is all online, and
Uh-huh.
we have a pre-recorded concert this afternoon and a live appearance this evening and also tomorrow.
Wow.
And people can still get tickets for that.
Yeah.
so if you wanna, once you're done here, you can just hop right on over to Old Songs and see more Windborne.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a great festival, and we're glad that they're keeping that going in a virtual way during the pandemic, because what a great festival that is.
And I think many people are going to keep this hybrid component, the virtual and the live, even when we can all perform live, because, not everyone can travel to the festivals they want to see. So I think, some good has come out of all of this.
Yeah, and so we mentioned
Totally.
earlier, and didn't give you the actual date because it flew out of my head at that moment, that Windborne is actually performing in our concert series, the Homegrown at Home concert series, and that will be Wednesday, September 8th at 12 noon Eastern time here in the U.S. if you're here with us on the East Coast. But you can do the math to figure out where that is in your time zone if you're not. So please mark your calendars for September 8th. And you can go to the link that we put into the chat to find that concert. You can also watch it on our Facebook page. So you just look on Facebook for American Folklife Center, and that's where we're premiering it. But the secret is it appears in all three places at the same time. That is the link we've given you, the Facebook page, and the Library of Congress YouTube channel. It appears there at noon on September 8th.
And another great way to make sure you don't miss Windborne's Homegrown at Home virtual concert is just sign up on Windborne's email list, which you can do from their website, windbornesingers.com. We might want to post their website
Sounds like a plan.
URL one more time. And Steve, you want to talk about the
That would be
stay-at-home
great. Yeah, you
archive
could-
challenge?
Yeah, sorry, let's let Jeremy have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to jump in there. You can also find us on social media everywhere as Windborne Singers. So we're on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And one of the big things that has been an amazing support for us during this time has also been our Patreon community. We had this idea of Patreon way back before the pandemic, and we had this notion that once we got to 100 patrons, we were going to do a live stream. And little did we know that everyone was going to do a live stream all the time, no matter what. But that's where we release a lot of our new music, a lot of our new songs, our works in progress, our behind the scenes stuff. And so if you want to keep following Windborne, patreon.com/Windborne is a great place for that.
And we know that there's some people from our Patreon community on this call today. So
Thank
thank
you.
you all for being here.
Hello,
We love
Patreon
seeing you.
patrons. Thank
So-
you for joining
Back
us.
over to Steven.
So one last thing we wanted to mention was, this collaboration that we're doing with the Daily Antidote of Song is sort of, for us, part of another kind of program that we put together, which is called the At Home Archive Challenge. And that is, when the pandemic started and we realized people were going to be spending a lot more time at home with time on their hands, we thought, well, it would be cool to just encourage people to go ahead and use our archival materials. And so we came up with a way for people to record their own performances of material. You can do that on audio or video, and then just share it to your social media with a link that tells us that it's there with a tag. And so there's a blog instructing you on how to do this that we're going to put the link to in the chat. So that just tells you, anyone can do this, obviously, and you don't even have to tell us you're doing it, but this tells you how to do it so that we can find out that you've done it.
Because
then,
we might want to write a blog and put
might,
links to your performance.
Exactly. We've done that with a few of the folks who have done their own at-home archive challenge, but mostly it's just a way to encourage people to use our materials. And at the time, it was a way to give people something to do who were newly stuck in their houses without, without having planned to be there for most of their time. So,
and we hope that Windborne's performance today has given you a Jones for doing some kind of creative adaptation with one of our field recordings.
Yeah, and one of the things that the pandemic has taught us is that there are things that we did of necessity when the pandemic started that now we kind of realize weren't such bad ideas in the first place. And that includes virtual concerts, which we might continue to do as part of our concert series, but it also includes the at-home archive challenge, because why not do that, right? It was always a good idea. We just didn't think of it until the pandemic hit, and we needed to think of new ways to interface with this material. So with that said, I think it's time for us to hear Windborne do a reprise of at least part of the song. Is that something you guys could do for us?
To send us on our way singing.
Yeah, we'll just sing it. Yeah, we'll sing it through again, and yeah, just be ready for that changed verse, and you'll notice that there's a little pause before that changed verse. The cheating's the way of the big corporation.
Come all you good people, I'll sing you a song. I'll tell you the truth, I know I ain't wrong. It's from mother to mother, from sister to brother. They've gotten the fashion of cheating each other, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation. Hard times.
Here's the bank baker bakes all the bread we eat. Likewise the old butcher by selling his meat.
They'll tip up the still yards and make them way down,
And swear it's good weight if it lacks 10 pound, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Here's the old banker with keys to his vault.
I swear to you all, he's worth by tenfold. He'll hand you a $1,000 and call it a loan.
But then soon enough he'll take all that you own, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Here comes the senator with a tie and a smile. He'll pledge and he'll promise and swear it's no guile. He'll go to the Capitol and say he's your friend.
Then he'll line his silk pockets and leave you again, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. But the Lord of Industry owns the whole lot. He's got nothing to fear, 'cause the senator he's bought. He's fixing the vote and he's rigging the game, but he points to your neighbor when you ask who's to blame. Since cheating's the way of the big corporation, by now it's spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Now I've concluded, I've finished my song. I've told you the truth, and I know I ain't wrong.
The butcher may cheat you, the banker ain't fair.
But the problem is really the billionaire,
And it's hard times.
Thank you all so much, and thank you, Aaron, for putting all of the stuff in the chat and being so on top of that.
Thank you, everyone who's watching on Facebook Live.
Thank you to Windborne. That was so much fun, so fabulous, and always incredibly amazing to be able to sing in harmony. It's something that we miss so much, and getting to harmonize with 4 harmonies all at once was really super fun. Thank you. And you guys did an amazing job with that song. It was really great to sing along
Really
with.
fantastic.
Yeah, you guys are great teachers as well as great singers and great arrangers. So thanks for doing such a thorough job with teaching us your parts. And I'm sure that they were ringing out all over the world as we were singing those parts together. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with all the things you have coming up with old songs and preparing for your holiday shows coming up. And I want to invite everybody to join us tomorrow at noon Eastern time, same bat time, same bat channel, for the final installment of our Archive Challenge Partnership Week, as Steve hosts Joe Hickerson, who was the head of our archive for 35 years and who did so much to popularize many songs from our collections, and who was my personal role model for how you can be a federal folklife specialist and also carry these songs to new audiences as a performer. Joe, thanks from the bottom of my heart for all you did to inspire everyone. And you're going to be singing a song tomorrow that you got from the singing of G.D. Vowell, right?
Joe is muted. I don't know if
that is correct.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're muted again. Oh no. There we go.
Beautiful. It's a mute point.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little about your song tomorrow, Joe.
Well, Bright Morning Stars Are Rising, the earliest known version, is the one that Alan and Elizabeth Lomax recorded for the Archive of American Folk Song in 1937 in Harlan, Kentucky. And the name was always given as G period, D period, Vowell. And it was only recently that I heard from a great-great-nephew of Mr. Vowell, North Carolina, with all kinds of clippings, newspaper clippings. And his name, full name, was definitely Granderson David Vowell.
Wow.
Granderson, what a great old name.
That is a grand name, Granderson. So a lot of people on the folk scene sing Bright Morning Stars Are Rising because you took it around to all those festivals. And now everyone in the Daily Antidote of Song is going to know it as well after tomorrow. So,
and I must modestly confess that unlike Windborne, that seems to have a penchant and beautiful ability to harmonize on every single song, I'm a great fan of harmony, but it's hard to sing harmony when you're leading a song.
Right.
But this is the only case that I ever sat down and actually wrote 4 parts for a song.
Yes, I remember seeing your handwritten musical notation for your parts for this song, and I hope you'll teach those parts tomorrow.
Day in, day out at the shape note things that we used to do in Washington.
So yes, everybody tune in and catch Joe tomorrow for a fabulous version of Bright Morning Stars Are Shining, and that will be the culmination. Pardon? Rising, I'm sorry. It's the culmination of our Archive Challenge Partnership Week on the Daily Antidote of Song, so don't miss it. We want to thank Busy Graham and Joe Rossi of Carpe Diem Arts. Thanks to Katie Abudu for all the whole week, and to Aaron Geyer for today. And thanks to Joe for pinch hitting with running the tech sometimes this week. And thanks to all of you for tuning in and giving us your midday hour.
And Busy Graham of Carpe Diem. I don't know if she's here today, but she's been here most of the week. So thanks to her as well, of course.
And thanks, of course, to Windborne for joining us and taking this deep dive into our archive. So we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much again, Jen and Steve. That was fabulous. Windborne, folks, that was fabulous. Joe Hickerson, can you go ahead and show your shirt again? You were showing it before and we didn't get a chance to see it. Can you show whatever that shirt is that you're wearing that I think has something to do with the archive? Hang on, we're gonna take a look. What do we got?
Archive.
A folk song.
A folk song. It's
Right.
the older name of our archive.
Beautiful. That's the original
You're
name
muted.
of the. Oh, hang on, Joe. We'll try and unmute you again.
That was sent to me by a former intern.
Which one?
After her. Well, she called herself at that time B.J. Belenis. But you
Oh,
all know
yes.
Betty Belenis.
Betty Belenis.
She sent 2 of these shirts, one for me and one for Jerry Parsons.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Betty, of course, ended up working at the Smithsonian, what was then called the Office of Folklife Programs, now the Center for Folklife Cultural Heritage.
Yeah, and she's a great folklorist, and we appreciate her as well. So thanks for showing us that shirt. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much again. So let's all wave Windborne out of the room. They have.
Bye, Windborne.
They have to go, right?
They
got
have
a concert.
busy day.
And thank you. They're on their way to their next musical endeavor. And thank you again to everybody on Facebook Live for joining us today. We're really glad you sang with us. And please join us tomorrow to sing along with Joe.